Oh my god. I have to redo my second mock draft for the third time. Hoy there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to my second mock draft. Now you know the rules, but now I had my second draft, and I was actually considering redoing it again because I actually didn't like part of the beginning and part of the end. But now big things happened. Okay, so before I begin, let me get some scenarios out of the way. So, first and foremost, the 49ers in this scenario would have given away Kaepernick to the Broncos. So the Broncos have between Mark Sanchez and Colin Kaepernick. So, after that, by the time I do my final draft, we should definitely know if he's going there or not, because for God's sakes, we should have known a long time ago, but this is just such drama. That I don't even know if the NFL is like shrilling it up or something, but Jesus fucking Christ, just stop it already. Make a decision. That's all I gotta say on that. So yeah, he's there, and I think that was the only one I had in place. But trades are in effect, and this is the big thing of the biggest reason why I had to redo this. Today, on the 14th, 2 weeks away from the draft, the Rams made a bold move. They traded their first round pick with the Titans. The Titans are now 15, and the Rams are they're the first team up now. Anyway, so let me try to remember what they traded off. Give me a second. So, the Rams will they will receive the first overall pick, the 113th overall pick, and the 177th overall pick. However, the Titans, what they got, they're getting the 15th, so they're switching, the 43rd, the 45th, the 76th, and then next year's first and third round picks. The Titans might have won this because they have a lot of position needs, as I told you. So this is the Rams are making their boldest move I've ever seen, because they're going all or nothing here. Just like how the Texans just spent a lot of money on Brock Osweiler and for their sake of competing, and having a successful quarterback, they're banking. They're literally banking. The Rams are banking on that this quarterback is the one. And quite frankly, I know the Rams need it. I really do understand, but I just think, you guys, I mean, of course, I believe in Case Keenum, but aside, even disregarding that, I don't think Carson Wentz or Jared Goff are really the ones, right now at least. They need to be a year in your system. They need to train and refine their skills, because they are not ready. They jumped in because their draft stock might not even be as high as it is now. So anyway, with that in mind, let's get started with the first overall pick. The not the St. Louis Rams, the LA Rams are up on the board first because of the trade. And I will mention another trade that's coming, and it's actually really soon. I have them selecting Jared Goff. People keep linking Carson Wentz, and I would think that's okay, but I think Jared Goff is familiar with the West Coast system style of play. I don't think the Rams are like that, and that might be why they're saying more Carson Wentz, but I think Jared Goff, among the two, I personally believe he's the better quarterback. And quite frankly, if he doesn't make it if they take Carson Wentz, fine, because that means the Cowboys can get a chance at them. And I'm okay with that. Anyway, so next, we're going to move right on to the Browns. Now here's the crazy thing. The Eagles will trade up to the second spot to just rob the 49ers and any other team who is considering Carson Wentz. They are going all out just as much. Now, what picks they're going to give aside from that, I don't know. I'm not. Those are very technical. And anyway, so the Eagles will have traded up. Who will they get? A quarterback as well. I have them getting quarterback Carson Wentz. So that's right, just like last year, both quarterbacks off the board. Carson Wentz will go to... Oh, wait, whoops, okay. Yeah, I meant to put that to the Eagles. So the Eagles will get Carson Wentz. If only we could actually do trades here. Yeah. So Eagles will take Carson Wentz by trading up to the Browns. So we'll come back to the Browns after we get to the 49ers. So next are the Chargers. All 4 players are here. So this will make things interesting. Who will the Chargers go for? Isn't it obvious? They are going to go for the same player I've had before. Miles Jack. Linebacker. He's good. They need to pressure players, and honestly, the only other good player on defense is probably DeForest Buckner or Joey Bosa. But I think they'll take a linebacker for now. Though they will need to draft a lot of defense. And speaking of quarterbacks, though, they might need one to replace Phillip Rivers. We have a lot of quarterbacks that are already, not just Peyton, not Manning. Soon Tom Brady's going to hit fall off the cliff. Phillip Rivers will fall off the cliff. Drew Brees will fall off the cliff. So they should start considering getting quarterback. The Saints already did that, though. Anyway, next up, the Dallas Cowboys. Look who they have as options right now. Because both quarterbacks are gone, the Cowboys have a chance to get a player. And because in my previous mock draft, I actually had this of the top 5, the 5 players that went off the board. I had the Titans getting Jalen Ramsey. I had the Browns not getting a quarterback, and them actually getting Miles Jack. I had Laramie Tunsil going to the Chargers, and the Cowboys getting DeForest Buckner. And then the Jaguars have getting Leonard Floyd. Anyway, so yeah, those were my 5. So now the Cowboys have the option, and here's who I have them getting. I know I put him again, but they're getting Jalen Ramsey. But like I just said, those are my top 5. It was actually going to be much more different, but because of this change in my current prediction, I'm honestly sold someone's going to trade to the Browns for the other quarterback. It'll either be the 49ers or the Eagles. I think the Eagles have more balls to do it, though, because the 49ers are too chaotic of an organization to make a fucking decision. So yeah, I have Jalen Ramsey going here, and these are probably going to be the way it's going to be the final version, but we'll see. Anyway, the Jaguars up on the board. They have a lot of options to choose from, and in this case, I have the Jaguars. I have them still. I want to give them a defensive end like Buckner or Bosa, but they have with Malik Jackson. I don't think they will go for one. So that's kind of a problem. On the other hand, I was originally considering Laramie Tunsil, but I don't think they would get him, even though they should protect Blake Bortles. I think they trust their offensive line enough to go through with this. So who they'll be getting? They're going to be getting outside linebacker Leonard Floyd again. I'm going to probably look at other mock drafts and see, because now we're going to get a bunch more to talk about what considering the Rams situation now with the switch of picks. So yeah, this one I just can't think of anyone else right now. So in my final draft, I promise I'll have hopefully a more suitable or reasonable player for the Jaguars. Next, the Baltimore Ravens. They need a lot of help, and they need help with the line. Perfect timing. You have the best lineman, Laramie Tunsil, going to you. I have the Ravens picking up Laramie Tunsil to protect Joe Flacco. Before, it was Ronnie Stanley, but now they have an opportunity to get the best one in the draft. And it's going to be good for them. Trust me. I mean, considering you have, let's see, this year, I don't think they're actually playing that many big defenses compared to last year. I mean, last year they had to play the Cardinals, and then the Seahawks, and then the Rams. That was ugly. So yeah, next are the 49ers. The 49ers need a QB, but they're gone now. So with that in mind, they're going to have to settle for a inside linebacker. Yeah, I misclicked. Reggie Ragland will be going to the 49ers. They take an inside linebacker. It's either this or an offensive tackle in Ronnie Stanley. Speaking of... Oh, wait, before we do that, I need to go to the Browns, because they are the... I forgot, they are the... technically the 8th overall pick. So, the Cleveland Browns, up on the board, they're going to select Joey Bosa. Actually, no, wait, did I say they were getting Joey Bosa in my original... when I said my previous, scrapped mock draft? Yeah, I think I said that, because he's going here, so... Joey Bosa going to the Browns. They need help everywhere, especially on the line. They are in a clear rebuilding phase now, so why not do it? Anyway, so the Buccaneers need help on a lot of places. Corners, linemen, I would argue defensive ends. So I'm going to say they will get offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley. Quite frankly, I see them having a big need in line protection for the sake of Mariota, because I think that's kind of what part of me thinks the line was the reason why the Bucs ultimately failed at the end. They fizzled out. They could have made a playoff push. I don't think they would have gotten it, but I think they could have at least, knocked on the door. They wouldn't have been welcomed in, but they would have at least, they would have been heard. They would have been heard or something like that. So, the Giants are up on the board. Originally, last time I think I had them getting DeForest Buckner, who's still up on the board along with Ezekiel Elliott. But in this situation, I actually have them. This one's probably my biggest stretch. I have them getting Laquan Treadwell. You have Odell Beckham, and you have Victor Cruz, who I think is already going downhill. I just can't see him. You can't come back from ACL and MCL tears. It's really hard. And then you got hurt again in practice. So that's a bad sign. I don't like the Giants. I actually didn't mind Victor Cruz, except when he played the Cowboys, of course, because I love the salsa dance. And Hispanic. At least I want to say he's Hispanic. I mean, you got the last name Victor Cruz, or Cruz. Or Cruz. Anyway, so the Bears are on the board, and guess what? They need help on the line, corner, and outside linebacker. But you know what I say to that? None of that. Bill's not gonna like me for picking this one. I have Ezekiel Elliott going there. You lost Matt Forte? No problem. You're getting Ezekiel Elliott, one of the better running backs in this draft. So, one came out and another came in to take his place. That's not good. The NFC North to me, the NFC North has the potential to be the best division if the Lions can rebound and the Bears can get off the schneid. But we'll see. I don't want them to get off the schneid, though, so that makes it a paradox for me. Now, here come the Saints at number 12, and I have them going for DeForest Buckner. They need help on defense because their defense is abysmal. Quite frankly, I can't think of any worser defenses, to be honest. Well, I mean, there was the Cowboys a couple years ago, but I think this one was worse because the flags. But apparently, they don't count them in determining worst defenses ever. Which is stupid. They're stupid. Anyway, so next up, the Dolphins at number 13. This time, they're going to go for an offensive tackle, protect the franchise with Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin protect Tannehill, because Tannehill is the biggest factor in what can save or just further bury the Dolphins into obscurity, which either way works with me. Next up, the Oakland Raiders. Now, who could they want? They are so close to being a complete team because they lost a lot of players. They lost Justin Tuck and Charles Woodson to retirement, which at least they're not going anywhere else. But that was just unfortunate on their part, but with them, they were still not even the perfect team. They still have a lot to learn because the Raiders are a young team on the rise. I think, but the difference between them and the Jaguars, I mean, they both hit drafts, but they both have succeeded with their drafts so far. But I would argue the Raiders have succeeded more because unlike the Jaguars, who not only have got Dante Fowler hurt before the season began, but he's also being currently investigated for some controversies. Controversy is the wrong word. Let's just go with the word scuffle. He's been in a scuffle apparently. I think with some women, if I'm not mistaken, or I might be mixing him up for another player. But either way, I know for a fact he got in a scuffle. If anyone wants to elaborate on that, feel free to put in the comments below, or I could just look it up after the video is done recording. So anyway, the Raiders had succeeded with their draft 2 years ago because look what they got: Khalil Mack, who's a monster, Big Mac attack, and then Derek Carr, who I'm a big fan of Derek Carr, and I still will shame Houston for not taking him in the second round. I think they didn't get him solely because, oh, I remember his older brother. He must be like him. No, Derek Carr was so, like, he lived and breathed football. In fact, he probably lived in a football for a time. So anyway, enough of that. The Oakland Raiders, they need help with offensive line, corner, and inside linebacker. For this sake, here's what I always said. Before I said they were a lineman away from being a complete team. Before that, now they need a corner, and now they need a linebacker. So, I mean, you have Bruce Irvin to pretty much replace Justin Tuck, which is good. And honestly, I really want to say they could use another one, and I'm going to give them Jalen Smith. I think I had him going here before, though I might be wrong on that. So we'll have to see where they go with that. I think it's because they need to protect Derek Carr, and I think if he has plenty of time, he can light up the field. And so I think right now building a line to protect him and keep him basically just stall by more time. For sure, Amari Cooper will get open, and then you have Crabtree, which I think Crabtree is an unsung hero currently for the Raiders, because you have a veteran wide receiver in him, and then Amari Cooper, who's gonna get better as time goes on. But anyway, the Titans have the 15th pick now. Remember, they traded down with the Rams. So who will they get? They need a lineman, corner, and a safety. I actually think they are going for none of that, and actually going defensive line. To be specific, or to be more specific, I have them going defensive tackle, because I think they have, I think his name is Darrell Casey or something like that. He's 99 on their side. I believe he's a defensive end. So I hope I'm right here. So they're going to go for Ashawn Robinson. Defensive tackle, stop the run, because you have run-heavy team. You have a run-heavy team in the Texans. You're going to be playing some run-heavy teams as well in the Chiefs this year, the Broncos, and I want to say the Raiders are a run team, but I don't think they really are. But and I think there's a couple others that I'm forgetting. Oh wait, yes, there is one I believe that's going to be a run-heavy team. No, never mind. Never mind. Oh well, I can't remember the schedule. Ironically, the schedules, I believe, the regular season schedules come out today, which I really need to check on that and see if I'm right. But anyway, so the Lions are up next, 16. They're where Houston was. I have them getting Vernon Hargreaves, cornerback. Oh boy, they need corners. They need defensive tackles, especially to replace Haloti Ngata. I got his name right. I remembered it this time. And corners are important, because most of the good corners are in the second round, and the only two good corners, the first round talent worthy, are Jalen Ramsey going to Dallas and Vernon Hargreaves going to Detroit. And I'm hoping he can last this long, because the Raiders could take him, the Saints could take him, because Brandon Browner is a piece of shit. Jack Conklin could, or not Jack Conklin, when I say Jack, the Dolphins could select Vernon Hargreaves instead of a lineman like Jack Conklin. Even the Titans could get him. And I forgot this, the Buccaneers could use him too. So you have 5 teams that could use him. And that's a lot of hoops you gotta jump to. So if they don't get him, which this one's very unlikely in my opinion, but I really want it to happen, the draft is unpredictable, so I'm gonna go something a little off the beaten path. Hopefully he can last long, so the Lions can address what I think is their true biggest need. I mean, I was like, they could use wide receiver help, but now they got some help. Now, like, they signed a couple wide receivers, including one from the Bengals, and I think they'll be fine for now. They can try to draft a wide receiver later on in the draft, and make him like a cultivated talent. But we'll see. If not, they'll get a defensive end or defensive tackle most likely, like Ashawn Robinson. Atlanta Falcons at number 17. They need linebacker help and defensive end. I have them getting defensive end Kevin Dodd. They need to pressure the quarterback. That's their biggest problem. They are a glass cannon team like the Colts, but the Colts are worse, because the Colts organization they are so stuck on the Peyton Manning days, and ironically they were the ones that shoot him out the door. Dumbasses. I mean, you got Andrew Luck, and that's good and all, but come on. You had to be the asshole team. Well, whatever. Anyway, so, speaking of the Colts, since they're up next, they need help. They should go. Here's what I think. If I could choose for them, I'd take a defensive end. Or a linebacker, because their defense is so trash. Like Super Hulock, which is fucking trash. But they're not going to go defense because it's not the Colts way. The Colts love offense, 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 wide receiver, running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight ends, and in this case, they're going to settle for the most boring one, an offensive guard, Cody Whitehair. I can't see them not getting a lineman, especially after what happened to Andrew Luck. Next are the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are going to be going for what I think is going to be a little surprise. I had this one in my last draft. Last time I think I had the Bills taking like a tackle or I want to say I had them taking like a defensive player. I have them taking a wide receiver in Will Fuller. Will Fuller is going to do to go along with Sammy Watkins because I just don't think Percy Harvin's going to play for any more than 3 games. I think that's going to be their biggest problem. Not a problem. He's an X factor. Let's put it like that. He's going to be an X factor for them. But I think we'll have to wait and see. Again, personally, we just have to wait and see. But who knows? Next, the New York Jets, Jets, Jets. The Jets, I think they're the team that's going to get the tight end again. They could go linebacker, but I think all the good linebackers that they wanted are gone now. So they are going to still go for Henry Hunter. If not, it would probably be a linebacker. Just again, add to the talented offense. Brandon Marshall, Forte, Eric Decker. That offense is just mean, and it needs a quarterback to lead them. So if I were Fitzpatrick, I would sign for whatever they offer me. Because I'm not saying they're guaranteed to get a ring, but if they play their cards right and not blow games, they could be a really threatening team in the AFC. But, and because their defense is good, though I think they lost a couple pieces. They'll probably address that later on in the draft. Next up, the Washington football team. I have them getting, I still don't know how to say his last name, so we'll just call him Robert. They're going to draft Robert to stop the run because they play run-heavy teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Next up, the Houston Texans. I need them getting Corey Coleman, but for the sake of being different in this one, I have them not going for a defensive end. Or not for a deep wide receiver, but a defensive end. They are going to get from Clemson, Shaq Lawson. Yeah, I thought this guy would at least go to like the Cardinals or something, but no. Shaq Lawson is going to go on the other side of J.J. Watt because I was pointed out to something interesting the other day when I was listening to the Houston radio show. They lost. I think his name was Akeem Dent. It was either Akeem Dent or what's his name? There was another player. Okay, I remembered. It was Jared Crick. Jared Crick was the one that they lost, who actually was a pretty solid parallel to Watt. Though, honestly, I think Watt and Merciless is enough, and Clowney too, if you can put him in there. But I can understand why they could use a defensive end now. Though I could argue you could use a defensive tackle more because Vince Wilfork probably might be his last year. Maybe he'll try to play another year afterwards, but it's going to probably depend on how well he does this season, which last season, I wouldn't say he's disappointing. He did as much as I expected him to, which wasn't much considering his age. But, again, it's no surprise, but I'm hoping to get a defensive tackle in the fourth or third to fifth round, though, because I want second round. I want linemen. I want a guard or a center to compete for the starting job. Anyway, the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings could use a wide receiver, though. Spoiler alert: Corey Coleman's not the one for them because Corey Coleman's not a lead guy. He is not. He needs to play behind someone who's greater, who's the number one guy. So for their sake, I have the Vikings going for a lineman. I have them taking LaRaven Clark. Last time I had him going to the Seahawks, so he's going up a little higher. Protect Teddy Bridgewater because that line collapsed a lot, especially at the end, I noticed. But to be fair, they did play against some good defenses like the Seahawks. They kicked against the laces. The Bengals. Remember what I said about Corey Coleman? He needs to be playing behind someone who's already like a great player. Well, guess what? He's going to Cincinnati. He's going to play next to A.J. Green, and that is good for him because A.J. Green's crazy. He's crazy good. So Andy Dalton lost Mohamed Sanu, and I forget the other guy's name. I think he's the one that went to Detroit. But yeah, now you got Corey Coleman coming to town, and oh boy, you got like a Steve Smith like player who's going to play against Steve Smith 2 more times at least. Anyway, so next are the Steelers, and I heard a comment from a Panthers fan saying some players should go, like some of the corners. And you know what? I heard your opinion, and maybe this will help. I doubt it. I have Eli Apple going to the Steelers cornerback because corners are their biggest need. Because yeah, they were kind of assholes a couple years ago when they let their great defensive players. Granted, this one was a safety, Polamalu, and then Ike Taylor to go out the door. But Ike Taylor's of the NFL media, which I'm okay with because Ike Taylor's kind of funny. At least when I hear him on the DDFP. Next are the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, it needs help on the entire line. They really need help on the entire line, and I want them to get this player from Texas A&M, Jermaine Ifedi. I don't know how you say his last name. It's weird. I can try it at least. It's not so difficult enough for me to not try it. But I think they have to go best player available. They're going to take Sheldon Rankins because I just can't see them getting anyone else. Now, this one, I had this one as my big twist, my big kicker, because I see it as a total Packers move. Because they're kind of like the NFC, they're the NFC Colts. Though they will get defensive players. That makes them a little bit better than the Colts. They actually will get a defensive player if they see a good enough one in their sights. And they do have some good ones. But you know what they're going to do? This move is probably... This one frustrates me, and I hate to do it. But I'm doing it because it just doesn't seem like it seems like it'll happen, but at the same time it won't. Derrick Henry. You know why? Eddie Lacy, sure, he's rebounding, but you know what? Players who are like that, they'll flip-flop. He might have a good year. He might have a good run this year, no pun intended, which is good because then you have Derrick Henry to go and he's resting to light it up. And that's not going to be pretty. That's not going to be pretty to play against both of them. But then after that, Eddie Lacy will probably get overweight again. Anyway, so the Kansas City Chiefs, they could use help in quarterback depth, but I think they'll address that later, probably 3rd round. Anyway, so I have them going for Josh Doctson, wide receiver, just to go against, is it Jeremy I think his name is Jeremy Maclin. Yeah, Travis Kelce's the tight end, if I'm not mistaken. I finally remember that guy's name. Next, the Arizona Cardinals. Oh boy, the Cardinals, I have them. They need safety help. They need, what am I trying to say? I think they need defensive line help, and I think that's what they're going to do. Some people say safety and corner, but I think they're fine on those sides because Honey Badger coming back, and you could probably get one in the next round. I think one should last in the second round. So do that there. I have them going for a defensive type player, and I think the one I have in mind, I have Chris Jones going to defensive tackle. I was going to call him nose tackle. Defensive tackle, eat up against the run, against run-heavy teams like the Rams, who have Todd Gurley, he made them pay last year. He made them pay, and I think that's what's going to make... we have to deal with Todd Gurley twice a year. We better get a good... We better get a good defensive tackle to help with this situation. So, next I have the Carolina Panthers. Okay, so In regards to the Panthers, I actually, one guy commented, I forget your name, man. Sorry about that. If I remember to put it in editing, I'll put like his name. Though, if you can just check the first mock draft, and there he is. He brought up a good point about Jonathan Stewart, who's injury prone. And though this answer is not really solving the problem because this player in particular has a bit of an injury risk, I don't think it's as bad as Arian Foster though. But I have them going for a running back to just be behind Stewart because I think Stewart at least has 2 more years in the tank, assuming he can stay healthy. I have the Panthers getting running back Jordan Howard, who is he's worth a late round. He's a late first round, early second round type of talent. He's got the ability to be a workhorse for the team, but he just needs to stay healthy. So this may or may not solve the problem. Honestly, I think the Panthers will be just hitting for the fences here. But since they already have a guy to be the number 1 guy, maybe Howard can learn to play a bit more safe. Especially learning from seeing the guy get hurt in the first place all the time. Oh, whoops. Anyway, so for the final pick, the Denver Broncos. Because the Patriots, remember, they don't have a pick because Deflategate, and Deflategate's the biggest debacle I've seen in a while because Roger Goodell is super salty that the Patriots are too good. Well, Roger Goodell. Actually, I already went through this song and dance before. Anyway, so I'll save you a lecture. But long story short, again, fuck you, Roger Goodell. You're a terrible person, and I hope you lose your job somehow. I don't care how. I just hope you lose your job. Resign, fire, if you can even fire him somehow. I'd want that to happen. Anyway, so in this situation, like I said, the Broncos already have a quarterback in Colin Kaepernick, so they're going to be going for defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah. Because they lost Malik Jackson. Though here's the thing, I think they might not get him because they were the one that got Jared Crick from the Texans, so they might not even consider Ogbah anymore and go for some other position. But we'll see. Again, I really need to look at other mock drafts now because, this trade happened. This changed everything. The Rams trade changed everything. So now let's go over everything. Jared Goff to the Rams. Carson Wentz to the Eagles. Miles Jack to the Chargers, Jalen Ramsey to the Cowboys, Leonard Floyd to the Jaguars, Laramie Tunsil to the Ravens, Reggie Ragland to the 49ers, Joey Bosa to the Browns, Ronnie Stanley to the Bucks, Laquan Treadwell to the Giants, Ezekiel Elliott to the Bears, DeForest Buckner to the Saints, Jack Conklin to the Dolphins, Jalen Smith to the Raiders, Ashawn Robinson to the Titans, Vernon Hargreaves to the Lions, Kevin Dodd to the Hawks. I'm thinking basketball. Kevin Hodd to the Atlanta Falcons, Cody Whitehair to the Colts, Will Fuller to the Bulls. Now I am really thinking basketball because basketball playoffs, even though the Bulls are out. Ha! Go Spurs. Will Fuller to the Bills, Henry Hunter to the Jets, Robert to the Washington football team, Shaq Lawson to the Texans, LaRaven Clark to the Vikings, Corey Coleman to the Bengals, Eli Apple to the Steelers, Sheldon Rankins to the Seahawks, Derrick Henry to the Packers, Josh Doxson to the Chiefs, Chris Jones to the Cardinals, Jordan Howard to the Panthers, and Emmanuel Ogbah to the Broncos. Anyway, feel free to chime in your thoughts on this mock draft. There will be one more mock draft that'll come out a day or two before the draft, so can't wait for that. I'll see you guys in another video.